This conference will now be recorded.
Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as fast as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as slow as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello underwater. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello like a butterfly. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as nice as we can. Hi, preschool friends. I'm so happy that you could all join me today. We are going to have a great circle time. The first thing we are going to do is talk about ways to solve problems. Sometimes when we're playing in the classroom or doing things at home, we run into problems. We don't want to share a toy, or we're calling each other names, or we want to play different games. And those are all things that are going to happen, and it's okay for those things to happen. We're going to have lots of different feelings. We might feel sad, or we might feel angry, and that's okay. The important part is that we talk about those feelings and we find a solution to the problem. So we are going to read a story, and in this story, we're going to find out some different ways that we can solve these problems, and then we're going to talk about something else that we can do that will help keep our emotions or our feelings under control and help to get our bodies and our minds ready to come up with that solution. So I'm going to share my screen, and that's going to allow you to see the book. And the name of this story is called Talk and Work It Out. And this book is written by Sherry J. Miners. She's the author. That means she wrote all of the words you're going to hear. And the illustrator is Meredith Johnson. That means she drew all the pictures. So we're going to read Talk and Work It Out and see if we can come up with some ideas on how we can solve problems when we run into them ourselves. I'm learning to get along with lots of people. And that's something that you're going to do too. You're going to be starting school and you're going to have lots of friends and you're going to have your teacher and other adults in the building, and you're going to have to find a way to get along with them. And that's going to mean sharing toys and being respectful and being polite. So we're going to learn how we can do some of those things. Sometimes I don't agree with a person, and it's okay to have different ideas. And it is okay. We're never going to agree with everybody all the time. It's okay to want to play different games or play with different toys. It's the way that we handle those situations that's important. But if something really bothers me, I can choose to work things out. So it looks like right here, there's one ball left and they're fighting over it. They're having a disagreement. Let's find out what we can do. It says, I can stop and take a big breath to calm myself. I can take time to think about what to do. So instead of just getting upset and yelling or hitting or pushing or taking the toy back, he's going to take a deep breath to calm himself down, and then he's going to think about a solution, a way to solve the problem. I may want to talk about the problem. I can look at the person and speak up when I tell how I feel. So it's really important to talk about the problem. You both need to take time to talk to each other and sit down with each other and both be able to come up with the solution. It's important to talk about how you're feeling, and it's also important for her to talk about how she's feeling. I can listen and think about how the other person feels. That's called empathy. When you care about how another person feels, it's called empathy. I learn more about the problem when I listen to another view. So he's not just giving his side of the story. He's not just saying why he wanted the ball. He's taking the time to listen to her too, so she can tell him why she wanted it. I can say back what I hear. This shows that I understand and care. So if she says something like, I was wanting to play with the ball because I didn't get to play with it when we were outside last, and that made me sad. So he might say something like, you're sad because you haven't had a chance to play with the ball this week. So that shows that he really was listening and that he cares about how she's feeling. Everyone always wants to know that someone cares about their feelings and think that they're important. As we talk about the problem, I can be polite and friendly. It feels good to be heard and to understand things better. So, to be polite and friendly, that means we're listening, we're looking at the person, and we're helping them to know that we're listening. So, we're not talking over them, we're not interrupting them, and we're not just looking around or playing around. We're paying attention to them. I can use my imagination to help solve the problem. So right here, you can see he's got thinking bubbles and he's saying, here you go. So he's thinking maybe she'll just give him the ball. And another idea is playing with it together. And then a third idea is he's giving the ball to her first. And he says, you can use it first. So those are all ideas that he came up with to solve the problem. And I can ask the other person to help find an answer too. What do you think? So instead of just coming up with the answer to the problem on his own, he's going to work with her to come up with that solution. If I still need help, I can ask a grown up. So after you've taken the time to calm down and you tried to come up with a solution and you still can't, then you can go to a teacher or your mom or dad, or maybe even an older brother or sister, and they can help you work out that solution to the problem. You don't always have to do it on your own. Sometimes you might need a little help, and that's okay. I can think about each idea, and it says, what might happen? Will we both be happy? Do you think it's important that you're both happy when you're trying to find a solution to a problem? You're right. It's super important that you're both happy with the solution. We don't want to make one person upset or angry. We want to make sure you're both feeling better. I can help choose a plan that's good for both of us. I can cooperate to make things work. I might share or take turns or do something nice. Cooperate means to work together. It's important to work together. Sometimes it's hard to find an answer everyone likes. I can still show respect. So we're not always going to find the right solution for everybody. Sometimes we might have one of the children that is still feeling a little bit sad or even angry, but it's important to still show them respect. So that means we're not making fun of them. We're not maybe taking too long playing with the toy. We're being respectful and we're giving them a chance to have their feelings and maybe still get a chance with the toy or game when there's time. I'm learning to solve my problems peacefully. Getting along can be more important than getting everything I want. So, solving our problems peacefully means we're talking and we're working together instead of fighting or pushing or hitting. And like it says, it's definitely more important to get along with each other and to have those kind relationships and friendships over getting just one toy, because we can always find a way to play together. If I care about someone else's ideas and feelings as much as my own, we can usually find a way to work things out. So look, they had one ball, and now look at all of these children. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 children playing with one ball, and they're all smiling and having fun. So they found a solution that made 6 children happy instead of 1. And those are the best kind of solutions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that's the end of our story. And we're going to talk about our next thing. And it kind of goes along with the book. And sometimes when we have a disagreement, like we're fighting over a toy, or we're not getting something that we want, or we're not going to play the game that we want, or anything that might make us upset or angry, we can take a deep breath, like they said in the book, and we can find a way to calm our bodies down and get our minds ready to talk. And one of those ways is called Calm Down with Take 5 Breathing, and it shows a hand. So I'm going to show you how to do it on my hand. So we hold up our hand and we hold up our other finger, and while we move our finger up, our thumb, we're going to take a deep breath in, and then when we go down, we're going to blow it out. And we're going to keep doing it until we trace our whole hand. So come on, breathe with me. Breathe in, out. Breathe in, out. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, and out. In, and out. So that allows us to take 5 deep breaths, and that gives our bodies a chance to calm down. And we can do that anytime we're feeling sad or angry, or we need to just take a break. It's great to have a spot at home or even at school where you feel safe and you can go take those deep breaths. So it's important to find that spot at home, and when you come to school, your teacher will have a spot that's a safe spot for you to do those kind of things. Some other things that you can do to calm down is maybe just talk about your feelings with somebody. You can draw a picture, or sometimes we even have little toys that you can just play with until you're calmed down and you're ready to talk. So those are all things that you can do, and taking those breaths and calming down before we try to come up with a solution is very, very important. So next we are going to do our question of the day, and we're going back to the insects now. And our question is, did you know that bugs can build their own homes? Did you know that? I knew that some insects could build their own homes, but I didn't know that other ones could. So we're going to take a minute to look at some of the different things that insects have built. So the first one, this is called a wasp nest. And a wasp is a type of insect that can sting or bite. And they make this by collecting different kinds of paper, and they work together to build this nest. And this is where they live and have their babies. The next one is an ant hill. Look at how big that is. It goes way up, 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 and down. And the ants have to work together. So many ants work together to make the ant hill, and that allows all the other ants to be safe and stay healthy and warm. And finally, I picked the honeycomb from a honeybee. Look at those shapes that they make. They all look exactly the same, or it's called uniform. When something is all the same, it's uniform. So the honeybees work together to make that honeycomb, and that's where they store their honey. And that's their food. So we are going to read another book now. And this book is going to be about bees. And I'm going to share my screen. And this book is called In the Trees, Honeybee. And in this book, we're going to find a little more about honeybees. I know we've already read about them a little bit, but in this book, we're going to get to see their honeycomb and inside their beehive a little bit closer. So this book is written by Lori Mortensen. She's the author, so that means she wrote the words, and it's illustrated by Chris Arbo. He drew the pictures. So let's read In the Trees, Honeybees, and find out a little bit more about honeybees and the houses that they build. Morning light, warm and bright in the trees, honeybees. You can see right here, these bees are making their beehive in a tree. And look, you can already see the honeycomb. Blossoms out, dancing scout. And then down here it says many wild honeybees live in hollow tree trunks. When sun warms the air, honeybees search for flowers. After a scout finds flowers rich with nectar and pollen, it returns to the hive and tells the others where to find them by doing a waggle dance. Do you remember when we talked about how bees communicate? They do that dance and it's called the waggle dance. Sisters fly through the sky. Soon thousands of honeybees leave the hive to find the blossoms. These honeybees are called worker bees. They are all sisters. So if they are all sisters, that means they are all girls. Nectar sweet, pollen treat. Worker bees collect nectar and pollen to feed the colony. As they fly from blossom to blossom, the bees drink the sweet nectar and collect powdery pollen on their legs. Remember, they use their proboscis to drink the nectar out of the flower. Harvest home, honeycomb. So there's that honeycomb inside their beehive. It says when the bees are loaded with nectar and pollen, they fly back to the hive. There, other worker bees receive the nectar and pollen and store them in the wax honeycomb. Feed and clean, precious queen. An average colony has 15,000 to 50,000 worker bees. That's so many bees. But there is only one queen. Worker bees take care of her so she can lay the eggs that will become the new bees. Lots of food, hungry brood. It's like a big group of bees is called a brood. 3 days after the queen lays an egg, it hatches into hungry larvae. So those are baby bees are called larvae. Water drip, sip, sip, sip. Too much heat, thousands beat. It says honeybees collect water too. When temperatures climb or get higher, thousands of bees fan their wings, and that evaporates the water and cools the hive. Uh-oh, look, I see a bear climbing up to the honeybee hive. Bear attack, sting and smack. Guard bees protect the colony. When an intruder tries to get in, the guard bees drive it away and sting. So there's the bees. They're chasing the intruder. An intruder is someone who's trying to get into your home, and they're chasing that bear away. Shape the wax, seal the cracks. Honeybees build their combs out of wax. Young worker bees secrete wax from special glands under their bodies. So secrete means the wax comes out of their body, and they use their mouths and front legs to shape the soft wax into the honeycomb. So they use their mouths and their front legs to make those shapes. Gather more, winter store. And to prepare for the cold months of winter, honeybees make as much honey as they can during spring and summer. There's the bees going into the hive, and it looks like some dark gray clouds. I wonder what's going to happen. It says fading light, homing light. As the sun sets, the air cools, and the blossoms close. Workers fly back to their hive for food, warmth, and shelter. Chilly night, clustered tight. So cluster means they're all close together. To stay warm, they stay close together. Morning light, warm and bright. In the trees, honeybees buzz. And this is just some more facts about honeybees. We're not going to read that right now. We can do that at a different time. So in that story, we learned about one of the insects that can make their own homes. So the honeybee not only makes the beehive or finds a place to have the colony or all the bees to live, they find a place or they make it, and then they use that wax that comes out of their bodies to make the honeycomb to store their food. So when you're outside, I want you to go around and look to see if you can see any insects' homes. Sometimes you might see a bee's nest or a wasp nest or even some little holes in the ground, and that's where the ants live. But I need you to remember that some insects can hurt you by biting you or stinging you. So it's important when we're observing or looking at the insects that we're just looking and we're not touching, because we don't know which insects might do something that could hurt us or even just make us itchy. And we don't want to hurt the insects or scare them either. So make sure you're just looking with your eyes and not touching with your hands. So that's the end of circle time today. We're going to do our goodbye song, and then I will see you next week. Have a good weekend, preschool friends. It's time to go. Goodbye, goodbye. It's time to go. Goodbye, goodbye. See you later, alligator. Bye, bye, bye. Butterfly. Bye, preschool friends.